Hello and welcome to Is There Something in This, the weekly writers meeting between me, Scott Dooley, he, Jason Chatfield, as we come up with our cartoons that we do for the New Yorker magazine.
How are you, my friend? How is the beautiful Gay Paris? Tell me your tales. What have you been doing?
So Ashika and I we've been working in Paris. Ashika is my partner, and on the weekend we decided to get away. And now I've got a place for you, Jason Chatfield, for you to go on a holiday.
Okay.
It's called Saint Jean Cap. Actually, before I go on, you hate money, right?
Oh, I hate it.
If you hate money, you'll love this because you can just get rid of so much money so quickly at this place.
Thank God. I've been trying for so long to get rid of it all.
I know you've been always coming to me with get poor quick schemes. Well, I think I've stumbled on a doozy.
Great, because I'm allergic to money, so I'd love to just get rid of all of it if I can in one fell swoop.
Ashika and I were joking around, that the other night we sat next to a really poor guy. He only had 2 super yachts. So we kind of offered to pay for his dinner.
Oh, bless you. You're doing God's work there, Scott.
Yeah, it's about giving back.
You're like a Bond villain. If anyone's been watching Scott's Instagram, he has the lifestyle of a Bond villain in these photos.
Oh, yeah.
You look like Dominic Green in The Quantum of Solace.
That's a very specific reference.
I'm a big Bond fan. I don't know, just very specific.
Really? Bond villains are either just nameless European pointing a laser at something or
Yes.
or the guy with the sharp hat. Anything beyond that is kind of very nerdy.
Vaguely European pointing a laser at something
So
is my favorite villain.
Yeah.
It's also a New Yorker trope.
Yeah, what missing an eye or a pinky finger.
Yeah, there's always some, it's either a limb that's missing or an eyeball or an ear, and it's been replaced with a weapon.
Because that's always my favorite kind of movie producer, movie director trope, which is it's always a very wealthy person.
Yes.
Like Castaway was a good example of like, what would happen if I lost it all kind of
Yes.
kind of thing. And that's the other thing of like, if I lost an eye, what would I do? Oh, I'd seek revenge on the world. Like that's the obvious. Not I'd just get on with, I'd probably get an eye patch and just go to work on Monday.
There's a great, I don't know if you have been, keeping up with anything over there.
Yeah, it's a pretty big city. It's not like...
No, I know you're not on a desert island. So we've got lots of ideas. I'm just back over here, just, roughing it in New York City.
You had an audition for something, Comedy Central or something?
I did. So my manager calls me up last night at the last minute and goes, I've got you something. I've got you a Comedy Central audition. He said July 11th. I said, wait, there's no Monday, July 11th in the calendar. There's a June 11th? Do you mean June 11th? He's like, oh, yes, it's June. I'm like, so tomorrow then. So
Great.
Off to a good start.
Because your manager, they based the character of Joey's manager off Friends off your manager, right? It's an old lady that's constantly smoking.
Of, Joey, I got something for you. One of those old Broadway, but also Stephen Merchant in Extras.
Great.
So it's a nice
so
combination.
You're in good hands.
So he goes, see, I told you I'd get something for you. I'm like, all right, great. He usually sends me out for, chicken commercial auditions. So you can listen back to one of those in a previous episode.
That's right, you did. No, that's not like comedic hyperbole. That's literally something, yeah.
Literal chicken auditions. So I rock along today. I go down to John Street, down in Wall Street area, and check in, go on up, and I go, I'm here for the Comedy Central auditions. And she goes, oh, yep, just go through door number 2. I grab the script, the sides, if you will, fill in my size chart and my name, and sit down to read it.
Good.
And I can't help but notice it's not a TV role. Oh. It's a commercial. It's running on Comedy Central.
Sure.
But it's a commercial for chicken.
No.
So I'm doing a chicken commercial on Comedy Central. If I book this. I must admit, I wouldn't say I aced it.
Well, it sounds like you had a great attitude, so I'm surprised.
Yeah, I really went in with a lot of optimism.
Because you go in, because that's the thing, if they keep it vague enough, at no stage in all your wildest fantasies the whole time are you going, you're not going, oh, I hope it's a chicken commercial. You're going, this could be like a Tonight Show, like Jim's going pretty well, like Rebel's kind of giving us a bit of an in here. The Australian accent isn't like, look at James Corden. This is, okay, this is good. And it's an interesting story. Like, I'm a cartoonist, I'm on The New Yorker, I'm a stand-up comic. This makes sense. Sir, can you say that's delicious in a southern accent?
This is my life. This is so real right now. This is my life you're describing in so much detail.
So what's the Comedy Central? Because my understanding would be, and when I say my understanding, I know this for a fact because you and I are in the same industry. Commercials are done by advertising agencies and casting agents. And
astutely observed.
Yeah. So what's the Comedy Central link?
So Comedy Central are now doing their own commercials.
That's a good idea.
For brands, and they're it's almost like Comedy Central have their own advertising wing where they want the commercials on their network to be funny.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, ad agencies, they'll give you copy and then go, all right, and be funny. Please be funny with this copy that we wrote in a vacuum on a Wednesday after lunch. Yeah. And it's dreadful copy, and you have to read it and try against all odds to make it humorous. So Comedy Central actually actively go out and go, you know what? We want to have a reputation that not only are our shows funny, but so are our commercials. So that's kind of where it ended. And I went in and I bumped into the guy who I did the dandruff commercial with, the guy who's on The Date.
Oh, he is a painfully good-looking guy, that guy.
Isn't he just? So as soon as I walked in, I was like, well, I've lost this.
Yeah.
It's done.
I remember, what was it? I was kind of auditioning. I was auditioning for something or other, and I said to my then agent, I said, oh, so who got it? And he goes, oh, yeah, Scott, I meant to tell you that they decided to go with Ryan Gosling. So I was in with a shot then. So I was really, so was it just between me and Ryan, or it was, well, how did it?
Story of your life. Yeah. I mean, if you looking at the Instagram this week, I mean, not that far off.
I know.
There's a couple of Gosling moments.
So what happens, I don't know if I've talked about this on the pod. I don't have Instagram on my phone. Ashika does all my Instagram.
No, right.
You and I both share this kind of thing. It's stupid.
Yeah. It is very silly, yes.
But
I mean, I have it because people will suggest cartoons for the show. They'll send in their suggestions, so I do need to be able to check the messages, the DM.
This is how I interact with Instagram. Ashika does all the pictures, and you take care. If anyone has a message for me via Instagram, it'll go through you.
Yep.
It will get to me eventually.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Because no one in the history, like if someone is DMing you via Instagram, your house is on fire, I'm imagining it's a small contained fire. It's fine. I can wait.
Snapchat, however,
that's a proper fire.
It's an inferno.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I'm not a lunatic.
Facebook, it's a bonfire.
This is like how they try to update Smokey the Bear for millennials.
Yeah. I must admit, I went off Twitter for about 4 years, came back, and it was almost exactly the same.
Absolutely.
Albeit more Nazis. But yeah, almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
So I didn't miss it one bit.
But on Instagram, I put up this picture of which Jason has been lampooning me about since. But it was the first picture I've been like, hey, Ashka, how many likes have I got? Hey, check it now. Check it now. Yeah.
Fiend, you're a fiend.
Yeah. I was really feeling myself. So
okay. That's not a good cycle to get into.
No, it's not. It's not the sign. It's not the sign of a good person. Like you're not. You never hear the Nobel Prize, and he built 30 schools, and he taught a generation to read while also brokering a nuclear proliferation treaty. Also, ask him how many likes he has on his last 4 photos. He knows. He's always across his likes.
This could help me with now. I know we're gonna go to your ideas momentarily. What you've got this week?
Oh yeah.
But one of mine. This really dovetails very nicely into one of mine. It's basically one that I've been trying to make work. Emma Allen, who's the cartoon editor of The New Yorker, she went to that British or French countryside, that big hill where they roll a wheel of cheese down it and people chase after it.
That is one of those stories, once a year. There's always a story once a year.
Yeah, an odd spot, yes.
An odd spot. That's one of them. Pizza delivery driver driving into pool is another one. Just every year that happens. Yeah.
Yep.
But the cheese down there, I'm always surprised they don't break their legs.
Well, they do. They have absolutely disgusting injuries. Spinal injuries, broken legs, fractured, coccyx. I think it's Cheltenham. It might be Cheltenham. I'm not sure. Now it's a.
Are you sure it's not in Dickheadshire?
I think you actually might be right. It's in Dickheadshire.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Dickheadshire. I mispronounced that. It's my colonial upbringing.
There's basically this. It's 130 years old or something, or 300 years old. This tradition of people.
Be a bit of a difference between 130 and 3, but yeah.
Yeah, it was the Vikings that started it.
Yeah.
Something like that. I think it's Gloucester. They roll the cheese down the hill, and then people have to chase after it, and the person who catches the cheese wins. And I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. They don't win money. They don't win sponsorship. They just win the cheese.
See,
it's one wheel of cheese.
To me, when I'm looking down at my shin, which is at right angles.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking, but I nearly got a cheese. It was all worth it. This was a great... This crippling surgery and months of painful rehabilitation were all worth it because I nearly got some cheese.
But have you seen the size of the cheese wheel, Scott?
Yeah. Have you seen the size of a medical bill lately, Jason?
I think they just sell the cheese in return for the medical... The money they spend on their medical bills.
I'll trade you a cheese for a hip relocation. So you have a deal.
So the last time I went in to see Emma last week, I said, how is the cheese rolling in Gloucester? And she was like, you wouldn't believe it. It's absolutely bonkers. I'm like, no, I believe it. But it seems ridiculous. It sounds so outdated. She's like, oh, you wouldn't believe these people, they go there every year and they're treated like celebrities. And she's like, I even got starstruck by one of the previous year's winners.
That's great. That's great. That's like the hot dog eating competition.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's the same lunacy. There's, and the image, if you just go online on Instagram or YouTube, you just type in cheese rolling and you can see these insane slow motion people just falling in all angles and directions, landing on their neck.
And it's always set to like Wagner or Chopin or something. It's always beautiful music with...
Absolutely.
And they're always inappropriately dressed. Yeah, I don't know what cheese rolling wear is, but I've never seen anyone and thought, oh, that person's nailed the brief. Like, there's always like a guy in like desert boots and like acid wash jeans next to a guy in Adidas trackies next to a bloke in marathon running gear.
Exactly. There was one guy in an Australian flag onesie. So that tells you everything you need to know.
He's also the Premier of Queensland, that guy. So well done on a diplomatic journey, I think it was.
There's a bunch of... basically, the visual is this giant ball of cheese. It's a wheel of cheese, and it's flying down this hillside with everyone watching, and people doing anything they can to roll down and catch this cheese.
Sure.
And they're following this cheese. Now, I just like the idea of some kind of millennial or similar looking at the cheese, being jealous because it's got way more followers than her.
Oh, okay.
Or is it the cheese talking to another bit of cheese?
Now you
wouldn't believe how many followers I've got. Or my followers just do the craziest things for me. Something like
I like that.
Oh yeah, you won't believe the things my followers will do.
Is there something in the idea that like that cheese has more influence, like the idea that the cheese is an influencer, like when
That's
it
great.
goes
We
down,
love
like
the
it's
influencers.
influencing. Yeah, I really like it because
Totally.
it's such a stupid. I can't off the top of my head think of an equivalent career, but every kind of 10 or 15 years there is some idiot thing that people look back on and go, oh my God, I can't believe, like, oh, you had an aquarobic studio, like kind of,
Aquarobics.
yeah, that kind of, it's like,
Wow.
to me, that's like total 80s kind of.
Yeah, totally. Now listen, what have you got this week? Because I've started off with a cheese rolling
I
cartoon.
like
and
that, which is a very niche reference.
yeah, but I honestly think it's such
I
a
think everyone
bizarre
gets
thing.
it. Oh,
I think everyone gets it
can't
now,
imagine
yeah.
anyone not getting that.
Right, precisely.
It
That's
was
the
always
idea.
shown in slow motion on Sports Sunday. Remember with like
Always.
Max Walker and
Play
like
of the day.
yeah. Here's Ian
Totally.
Maurice with the play of the day.
It rolls off the tongue way too easily.
Yeah, this one I feel like it's probably a well-worn path in the world of cartooning, and I had a bit of a
Okay.
look around, and I couldn't find anything this specific. Obviously, the topic's pretty
Okay.
well done, but. Like you know, like those 99-cent stores in Chinatown, like everything's
yes.
like you go in and there's just everything there for 99 cents.
Totally.
Something like that, like it seems like a pretty cheap kind of looking storefront. It's Faust's Bargains.
Faustian bargains.
Yeah, and I like the idea of kind of Faust. You know, maybe he's leading in the door. I don't know how you do it, but you and I think you could do remember those old like the stars with kind of the bargains, like. So I don't know. Does that sound familiar to you?
It does. Now, I like the idea that it's an opera that you've decided to go with here. Faust is
I mean,
there's Mephisto and Harry.
That's
it's like
right.
I don't know, Wolfgang von Goethe or something like that.
Now you correct
yeah,
me
it's
here. The most popular modern retelling is Robert Johnson at the Crossroads. That was
Sure.
that was a Faustian bargain, right? Where he made the deal with the devil to become the world's greatest guitarist.
Right.
Is that
Yes.
right? Yeah.
I think so. Yes.
Meanwhile, can I
Goethe.
just take a moment to apologise to any kind of English lit majors who are currently tearing their hair out listening
screaming
to
at
this?
the iPod? Yeah. Why do they have an iPod? Yes, I think it was. I think you might be right. Now, I love the idea of any classical literature reference in a modern context, particularly in a shop in Chinatown, because he's between a leather salesman and a luggage guy.
Well, that's also very funny, isn't it? Like the idea of
Clinton
him
Street.
being, yeah.
That is actually very funny. That trope of the old like Chinatown or Lower East Side like bargain basement kind of, you know, cheap off the rack weird bootleg crap. If that is kind of a Faustian bargain. I mean, you're buying cheaper stuff with a logo on it that's not real, and the bargain you're making is, well, I mean, I want to be seen to be wearing this brand, but I can't be buying the real thing. And then when it falls apart, there's the bargain. I mean,
I may get a rash, but I'm prepared to roll
that's the bargain
that
you're
dice.
making. You're willing to make. I love the idea. I think it's a great. idea. Visually, it'd be nice if he was. We had this sort of, you know, like a demonic figure, kind of leaning against the store, kind of watching people walk past. Going, Come on in, mate.
Kind of spruiking them in. But pre-fight press conferences where the boxes
Yes.
or the things.
Or MMA, yeah.
MMA
totally.
or whatever it is, where they get
Yep.
right in each other's faces after the weigh-in.
Mm-hmm.
Two guys really just about to go at it, and then underneath, we're going to settle this in the comments of a YouTube video.
To me, those pre-game, pre-fight press conferences are the comments of a YouTube video.
Precisely. I was watching
The
it, and it was
vernacular
like,
is the same.
yeah, exactly.
It is so, and they'll just sink to the bottom immediately and try and get each other riled up, and then they'll do the fake jumping up and fighting the other guy and shirt fronting him just to, no, and then all of a sudden these like, you know, 75-year-old managers are pulling them away and like, oh yeah, I'm sure you guys can really pull away a 200-pound
That's
fighter.
always
Yeah,
the
good one.
thing. It's like, if you have security, you're not a good boxer. If you can't knock a dude the fuck out without gloves on,
Yeah.
you are in
Yeah.
trouble.
It's always so silly because it's the theater of it. I like the idea of comparing it to YouTube comments.
I fall for it every single time. Oh, honey, the
Let
Wayne.
it be known, it's my favorite part of the fight. I love it. Every time there was the Mayweather-McGregor fight was my favorite because everyone was like, oh, this loud-mouthed Irishman, what does he know about boxing? The noble sport of boxing.
Gentleman's pursuit.
And of course, Mayweather's like, oh, this guy is going to go down in one round. Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. Why are we even doing this? Oh, that's right, money.
Yeah.
But the fight ended up being, so based on that pre-fight conference, I remember them just, he just got so mouthy. And then when the fight came around, they went like 1,000,000 rounds. Like they were so surprised at how long it took McGregor to go down because he was dancing around like a kangaroo. It was actually quite a good fight.
It wasn't that bad, but the thing with that fight as well was when they were getting into it and McGregor's like, F you and look at you, you're effing this and effing that. They had 3 press conferences. They were all on the same plane to go to each.
Yeah.
So, and then finally, I think you kind of will have a bit of an idea about this one. Man proposing down on one knee.
Yes.
The wording needs a bit of work, but at the moment I have Sandra, Sandra, I want to spend the rest of my life colluding with you.
That's great. I like that. Yeah.
Is that the word?
I'm just going to draw that as is. There's something about, because when someone was accusing Melania of gold digging too far. Like, you got yourself into this by gold digging too far because she's the worst first lady ever.
Oh, I mean, listen. If we're calling her a gold digger, there's been a mine collapse. Like we're watching this on CNN as they're trying to drag her out of the rubble.
Yeah, it's funny because I think it might have been Michelle Wolf or something saying that she's the worst first lady, even worse than Betty Ford when she was drinking. Like she's the worst, just irredeemably bad. And the idea that the deal she made, talk about Faustian bargain, jeez. I mean, the deal she's made.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Do you take this demon? Is it Faust marrying them? Is it in
Melania and Trump?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I like the idea of the Melania Trump clinic. I mean, maybe it's a bit too
for what, kidney failure,
or missing wives, or I don't know, like
missing persons, plastic surgery, because there's a Betty Ford clinic, which is obviously for
know that
alcoholics.
Yeah.
Yeah, what kind of rehab would Melania be a name on the building? Mining collapse victims. What would it be? It would be
That's not a bad. Yeah, it's. I don't know. Is it too?
I do love the idea of a mine collapse. She dug so deep that the mine literally collapsed around her. That's where she's been all this time.
There is, but it is the thing. Like, it really is like, how much money would it be to fuck Donald Trump?
Yeah, totally. It's just. Ugh.
Oh, by the way, also everyone knows you did. It's not secret. Yeah. Like, everyone knows. The entire world will know.
Man, I don't know if you've been watching the summit in Canada.
Oh, what a huge success that was.
Oh my God, what a shit show.
What was the feel within America? Like,
embarrassment that we're still sticking to the whole national security threats from Canada. And like, it's embarrassing because, like, he didn't even want to participate in the talks about climate, which arguably the most important thing those nations need to be talking about right now. And he's like, nah, I'm going to sit this one out. It's like, are you serious? Are you even allowed to sit this one out? Yes, he is. And I think it was a great Danny Shanahan cartoon, which was just more national security threats.
Oh, I saw that this morning, yeah.
Axe-wielding lumberjacks, pesky copper surplus, 100% pure extra dark amber weapons-grade maple syrup.
That's right.
You know, because the Canadian Prime Minister actually did, he's like, you've got to be joking. Are you serious? He said, are you actually saying you're a national security threat? And Trump goes, didn't you guys burn down the White House once? And he goes, are you actually invoking the War of 1812? And apparently Trump goes, yeah, when was that? And then
No.
he said, no. And he goes, no, that we weren't even a country then. Like, that was the British. That was you. And so he genuinely still holds the Canadians.
He got schooled on
responsible.
American history by another leader.
Precisely. It is embarrassing.
It seemed to me he was treating it the way, you know how pharmaceutical companies will like give doctors these conferences to Hawaii?
Right.
And there's a bunch of talks that no one actually really goes to because they're off playing golf. And it's just, listen, if someone comes in with an ingrown toenail, prescribe them this opioid. They don't need it, but like, what are you going to do? We've all got bottom lines here. Yeah, I hope you're enjoying the girls we've organised to serve you drinks at the 19th. You know, that seems what he thought the G7 was. And he was shocked that everyone had to go to every...
Yeah. It's so it's just embarrassing. The whole idea of it. Like, I remember you had a great daily cartoon, which I actually pitched on this morning. We're recording this on Monday, which was it was a little kid having a tantrum in a supermarket, and the tag and the parent just go, no, well, it's not a tantrum, it's a show of strength.
Which was the kind of backpedaling,
the rhetoric
hurried. You know, all this is, listen, we're playing a long game here, kind of, which I do feel sorry for that poor staff having to scramble to kind of reverse engineer the reasoning behind any action.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. So yeah, it's difficult to watch because you're just like, come on, are we still doing this? Of course we're still doing this. Of course we're still doing this. It's ridiculous. Boy, it's fun to watch. What's the vibe in France? Have they actually had any coverage of it?
A little bit, because Macron was there, and he was quite. There seems to be like the feeling. I was talking to some mates about it who live here last night, and the vibe is kind of, well, Angela and Macron are kind of the world leaders now. There's a vacuum, and Merkel kind of. I think it was Merkel and Obama before, because of what Merkel was doing with the European, the budgetary crisis. But
yeah,
I think I don't know. It feels. It's do you know what it is? This is what it's like, Jason. It's like the G7 is the Football World Cup. And it was going on, and we were watching. But the best team we'll just say the best team is Germany with no political kind of bias. But so the best team was Germany. And even though they played Brazil in the final, all they have been talking about and promoting is the game against Argentina they have the week after the World Cup finishes. and they spend their whole time undermining the World Cup and distracting from it. And during the game, even though they're there and they're kind of schooling teams and you can tell like they're playing a couple of 20-year-olds where they probably should be playing veterans. And you know what I mean? Like, and then here's the thing.
It's tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, here's the thing. They're playing Argentina in Singapore, and the game's a disaster. They're not ready for the conditions. They've turned up. They haven't read the new rules, like, because they're playing crazy rules. Like,
I like the idea that Trump gets to Singapore, sees the merlion, and thinks, that looks awesome. I think I'll get one of those. Like, and thinks it's a real animal. Have you been to Singapore? Have you seen the merlions? The big statues of the merlions in Sentosa?
Yeah,
and just goes, that looks fucking awesome. I want one of those in the White House.
Very classy place. A lot of beautiful people.
Very classy. Merlions everywhere. Loved it very much. So it looks like it's going to be on Sentosa Island. That's where the actual summit's going to be, at the Capella Hotel.
Also where Universal Studios Singapore is, isn't it?
Of course it is. I remember going there when I was like 17 and it being like Disneyland.
Yeah, it is like Disneyland. Yeah,
it's like a water park. So I think it's happening tomorrow. Again, we're recording this on Monday, so it'll probably be going on, I guess, tomorrow, Tuesday. And everyone is really just wanting to see how it's going to play out as it pertains to what Trump's going to say. Is he going to pass on something that he's heard from Putin? Because I don't know if you've been reading that he's actually been talking to Putin a lot more than we thought. He's just been talking on the phone, like they're just having chats, like they're buddies.
Yeah. I mean, ever. Like, if he's talking to him ever, that's a lot of times for a sitting US president he's talking to a Russian leader.
Yeah, I'd say so. So I don't know. It's really going to be interesting. And as far as like writing jokes about it, it's really, this could go either way. This could be a real game changer as far as this presidency goes.
Bro, yeah.
But I don't hold out hope. You know me. Cynic I am.
But I mean, Dennis Rodman's going to be there to make sure everything is on the up and up, so we're fine.
He's adjudicating, of course. It's so weird. And they're also, all of the imagery that they've been showing in Korea is like a title fight. So they have Kim in front of the flag, in front of the North Korean flag, and Trump in front of the American flag with like a big title between them, as if this is the title fight. This is, and they didn't even have the pre-fight interview. They didn't even have a pre-fight, press conference. They've just gone, no, we're just going to go straight to the fight. If anything, the pre-fight press conference was Kim pulling out, and posturing as he did.
I was going to say, of both fighters, they've had to bump them up a few divisions because they're both overweight.
No, they're heavyweights. They're definitely heavyweights.
What do you got?
All right, so this week I've only got a few. The first one is, throwing back to our idea of Chinatown knockoff 99-cent store sort of situation. I like the idea of, and I know that this is a very Australian idea, I suppose, but I suppose they won't be surprised that I'm pitching it. It's a kangaroo.
Go on.
And, of course, only the female kangaroos have pouches. So I'm told. And on the pouch is a Gucci logo.
That's not something you want to be like, trust me.
No, that's not. I mean, that's something I should know. We should know this.
And they are full of mucus. Full of it.
Yep. So it's a female kangaroo, and she's got her pouch there, and on the pouch, like it's a clutch, is a Gucci logo. And then there's two kangaroos off to the side, two female kangaroos going, it's a fake.
Oh, God.
Bitching, going, it's a fake.
Jason, if you wanted to get a yes without having to explain anything, or you could have said, like, even with no description of the image, it's two bitchy kangaroos. Done. Put it in.
Sold. Shut up and take my money.
In fact, take nothing else in, but pitch that 5 times.
That's my, and that's the other thing. Like, I just love animal cartoons. I can't get enough of animals talking and putting and anthropomorphizing. But just the idea that there is this social community in the kangaroo community. And it is like some kangaroos just want to have that status because everyone's pouch. Everyone has a bag. Every female kangaroo has a bag. And, who knows what they carry in it. You're not meant to know as a gentleman.
For the caption, is there something in making it more like you can tell it's a fake or even describing a characteristic that lets them know? Like...
Oh, okay. It's a giveaway that it's a fake.
Because that's always the thing whenever I hear women talking about, and it is sort of, kind of genderfy everything, but there's always a thing of like, oh, you can tell by the stitching that's not a real Louis.
Right.
It's
I mean,
stitching,
it's all right
there's
to
always...
genderfy this because it is a gendered thing. I mean, my dad's not arguing about man purses being fakes.
Yeah, that's right. You don't see dads going, oh, those R.M. William boots are knockoffs.
Bloody Akubra. Look at it. Look at the stitching on it. It's a fake. So I just like the idea of there's being a giveaway. Look, the stitching's terrible.
The giveaway, I like that's why I like that idea of the giveaway of
It's clear. I like it's clearly a fake.
It's clearly a fake, or you can tell. No, I think it's got to be clear. You can tell. Yeah, you can tell it's a fake, or it's clearly fake.
Yeah, clearly fake or clearly a fake. These things matter. Clearly fake. Or a
Fake.
fake?
I don't
'Cause
think a fake because they all have the pouches. So
Right,
saying it's
right.
a fake is you would say about something that is other than yourself.
I was trying to do like a two-panel situation where, well, not necessarily two-panel, but two images on the one cartoon, and on the left is an easel, and it's an artist who's clearly just very easily set up his easel, and to the right is this guy with the wood and the thing, everything's out at right angles, and it's broken, and he can't get the easel up. And there's on the left under that it says easel, and on the right it says difficult. All right, I'll move on.
No, Hardle.
Hardle. There we go.
Hardle.
Thank you.
I'm also one of my favorite visual gags is Boardwalk Cartoonist, and
Boardwalk Cartoonist.
a little girl kind of sat.
Oh, like a live caricaturist.
Yeah, and then a caricature, sorry, and then drawing something completely different. Like to me, that's just always funny.
There was a great one, I think, by Dan Ferraro, which was like all these people around, in a fair situation, and there's a caricaturist sitting there with the stall, but then a stick figure has sat down to have one done. The guy's handing him over the picture is like, just take it. I wouldn't feel right charging you. It's so silly.
Hey, is there something, and this is something I think you and I joked around about at the pub, because you would do caricatures at different events around New York.
I still do, but it's not so much shitty gigs anymore. It's now we're getting married at the Pratt Mansions near the Met, so then I'll dress up and I'll be a roving caricaturist or something.
So,
it's kind of a conversation starter between families.
So this was the thing that, and now I don't know if we can make this a cartoon. It might actually just be a stand-up bit, but
Okay.
I like the idea of you like, oh fuck, I forgot my gear, but I can do it verbally. And you just go around like you've
Verbal caricaturist.
Yeah, you've got a big nose.
That's amazing.
You've got a big nose. Do you like tennis? Because that kind of.
That's great. Oh, that's funny. Verbal caricaturist. There's definitely something in that. That's more like a sketch that you could film around Central Park. Just I've forgotten my gear, but would you like me to just describe all of your asymmetries and imperfections?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Anything
Because that's the job, really, is just to make you look ridiculous and point out your imperfections.
Exactly, and like if I was to do that with no artistic talent, I'd leave every event with a black eye. You're just roasting people.
Well, there's one, Nathan For You. I don't know if you ever watched Nathan For You. There was this one clip that went very viral, which was of him getting this caricaturist, like a Boardwalk live caricaturist, to actually draw people but be super, super mean. Like, not just them like ice skating and looking like with a big head and a little body, but like drawing them looking fucking awful. And it's so funny. It's on YouTube, and it's one of those things that everyone would send to me at least once a week. Someone will send it to me, go, have you seen this? Because it's just, for the longest time, that's what I did. But I was not that mean. But every caricaturist you speak to, they're like, oh man, if only I could do that. That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
As soon as a person gets up and walks away, that's what I do behind their back. I draw them the way I wanted to draw them. But they would never pay for it if I drew them that way. I'll go to my last two. The first one is fish under the water. There's a fishing line that's been dropped into the water with a hook and a worm on the hook. But the fish, there's two fish, but one of them's wearing a T-shirt or a hat or something that says meat is murder. So it's not going for the... It's sitting there, eyes closed, just staunch. No, not gonna... No, meat is murder. Or I'm off meat, or it's a piece of bread on the end of the line. No, I'm off carbs.
I think carb free is funny, but then how do you,
I'm off carbs.
Yeah.
But I think, bait is usually a worm.
Worm?
Like
yeah.
Meat. Just the idea of meat is murder. The fish being so against it and having a cause, just a fish having a cause.
A fish having a cause is really funny. I like the idea of the worm from the worm's perspective. being like, I honestly thought the early bird would have gotten me. Like all its
right, yeah,
all its
early
life,
bird.
it's been told to keep an eye out for the early bird.
Oh,
and then
what if it's
fish
the fish looking at the worm that's come down on the line and saying, "Well, if it isn't the early bird special."
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
Thank
That's
you.
great. That's great. Yeah. That's so
What a
silly.
wonderful collaboration. If it isn't the early bird special. That's great. All right, and lucky last, I have so I love a chalk outline gag. It's a chalk outline at a crime scene. But the twist is that the chalk guy is actually like a fine artist. So what I thought was it's actually a gallery and it's an art show, and the chalk outline guy is dressed up, skivvy, turtleneck, black turtleneck, maybe even a beret, maybe a obnoxious looking moustache of some kind. And,
so pretty much everyone I've been rubbing shoulders with for the last 10 days.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly who I'm picturing right now. Stripy shirt.
Yeah.
And it's just him saying, to someone, "Would you like to pose for me sometime?" And the person looking terrified.
That's funny.
Every picture on the wall is just a chalk outline. It's like a picture of a chalk outline of a gruesome murder scene, various New York sort of crime scenes with taped off crime scenes. It's like, would you like to pose for me sometime? Or it's like, you should see his spring collection, or like his his
I like it if he's like, this is his chalk period.
Just like, if you don't mind today, I'm gonna try some gouache. I'm gonna experiment with some charcoal.
Like a gorgeous like water lilies, like watercolors.
Totally. So he's a fine artist turned chalk outline artist, and he's turned it into a piece of art. And he's signed it. He's signed it at the bottom.
Oh, wait,
Johnson, would you mind not signing your work?
This is the thing. Yeah, he's really flamboyant. He's signing it at the bottom, and maybe it is like before the academy he studied at Pratt. Or something. He was at MoMA or whatever it might be.
Well, he's an arts graduate. I mean, it's the thing is that you get an arts degree, and then what do? Oh, well, he's a chalk outline guy, but he still considers himself an artist. So he's got still got the beret and the, and he's got like a palette, an actual,
he's got
palette.
like the palette, and he's and actually maybe there's the body there, kind of, arm at right angles and the whole kind of classic dead body.
Oh, it's Cubist. It's a Cubist chalk outline guy.
And
he studied in Germany. He studied at the Bauhaus.
And then, because I like the two grizzled detectives watching him, trying to wait for him to fuck off so they can move the body. He is, and so apparently before the academy he studied in Germany, or apparently before the academy he studied under Munchen in Germany, or like just make up stuff.
Edvard Munch, yeah. Oh, that's not bad actually. If it's the Scream, if he paints the Scream on the chalk outline guy, so every face, Munch as a chalk outline guy.
Is there something and this is a kind of departure, and it's probably a bit kind of Police Squad or Naked Gun.
Okay, yeah.
But the chalk outline and there's no body there. It's just the chalk outline.
Yeah.
But on the outline, there's clearly the victim was wearing a sombrero.
Oh boy. So there's a big hat off to the side. So
a big hat. No, not even off to the side. On his head, like.
Of course.
Yeah.
How do you lie down with a sombrero on?
Well, that's that's kind of the ridiculousness of it.
I don't mind that. I think there's something in wearing a hat and drawing the hat.
Drawing the hat
around the hat.
Yeah, it's so silly.
Even if it's a top hat, it's silly. Like if it was Eustace Tilley, the logo for the New Yorker, the guy, the dandy with the eye thing and the big top hat.
Yeah.
only in New York. Oh, yeah, he's a New Yorker. Like, only in New York. It's
He's
the
in
outline
New
of
York.
Eustace.
He was a New Yorker. What do
gave
we
it
know
away?
about the victim? He was a New Yorker.
Yeah.
Are we
Well, that's all we
literally
know.
murdering the?
We're murdering Eustace Tilley, yeah. There's something in that. Something in the chalk outline. Because there's so many. It is. So the chalk outline is, admittedly, it's a New Yorker cartoon trope. And there's been numerous chalk outline cartoons. And I must admit, I haven't gone back and looked at them all. And maybe we've even touched on some that have already been done. So I don't know.
I'm sure we
But
have.
this feels like a logical progression, you know.
The best chalk outline gag of all time for me is
Yeah.
Naked Gun, where the guy fell into the water, so they have a floating chalk outline just in the marina.
It's so silly. I love
great
that. Yeah,
joke.
that's right. And they got the rowboat.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
I love that scene. Oh my God, that's so silly. It's such a, people still do it. You see it. You see the chalk outline. I don't know if you've seen one around the city, but I've seen a couple.
Really? I've never seen a chalk outline. No.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. I saw one in Chinatown. There was some police tape around it on the sidewalk. Someone had jumped off a building, and well, I assume actually, I don't know. I'm projecting that onto the way the body looked, like the way the chalk outline was drawn. It just looked like they jumped off the building and landed. But there was still a bunch of cops around. So I don't know how long the chalk outline stays there after they've completed the investigation. Do they just keep it there? Oh, what about this? What if they get a tailor to do the chalk outline, but he just marks all the adjustments that need made? Like, do you know when you go to a tailor and he measures you for a suit and he uses chalk to draw where it needs to be hemmed, or like where so he just draws like in the hem. And, so it's like, no, we need you to draw the whole thing. He's like, no, he's just marked the bits where he thought, the hem's a bit long there. Maybe we'll just draw that in. A tailor as a chalk outline guy, because they do work in chalk.
What if there's two chalk
paint
outlines
instead of chalk?
There's two chalk outlines,
Mm.
and there's a detective going, "Oh, the second one was the first chalk outline guy. A gang thought he was graffitiing on their turf, or something like that."
Oh, right.
I mean,
what
that's
if it's
not the joke?
What if it's Banksy as a chalk
Banksy?
outline
Yeah,
guy?
I thought of Banksy. Yeah,
Banksy chalk outline, and it's something sassy. It's got like a balloon with a love heart that's breaking or something. It's like, Banksy, cool it, will you?
That's
We just
great.
need you to draw. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool it, Banksy.
that's great. Come on, Banksy.
Or, yeah, cool it, Banksy. Is cool it a thing that Americans say, or is that an Aussie thing?
Yeah, no, cool. It's a thing.
Cool it, calm down. All right, calm down, Banksy. Cool it, Banksy.
Calm down, Banksy. No, that's
Yeah. Great. I'm going to do that. Cool it, Banksy. He's great. Okay, so we have, if you don't have any more that we want to pitch this week, we have some suggestions from you, the listener.
Before we do suggestions, can I get very French
Yeah.
and open a bottle of wine?
Oh, please. I want to hear the pop of the cork, please.
Okay, just 1 second. I've just got to go and get the
In
stuff.
high def.
Just 1 second. It's
I
hard
wanna hear-
because I don't have a very good opener.
That's okay. If there's a battle involved and there's a bit of a squeak and pop, all the better.
Squeak and pop.
Oh, bonjour, mon ami.
May we?
Ah, oui.
All right.
Cracked open a bloody bottle of wine and you're ready to crack on with some bloody cartoons.
Now we've got some listener suggestions.
We've got some wonderful listener suggestions this week. As always, thank you for sending in your suggestions. You can send them to me at Jason Chatfield on Instagram or at Jason_Chatfield on Twitter. Don't want to get into why I don't have the same for both. Now,
My issue is this.
yes, what's your issue?
Our listeners are too good at this. We need more dickheads.
Well, what I can't see, and also I don't read these before we read them on the show. I just say thank you so much for sending these in. I'll read it on the show. So I can't filter out the dickhead ones from the good ones.
But we
I
haven't
just-
had any real dickhead ones lately.
No.
You know what I
And-
mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. So it is tricky. And, there's some real good stuff coming in, and I'm very grateful for it. But it's starting to show us up.
Yeah, that's
Some
what I'm
really
getting
good
at.
ones. Yeah. It's
That's
very
exactly
off-putting.
what I'm getting at.
We actually had one listener who, after I'd live sketched the Zuckerberg hearing, I posted one of the sketches on my blog. He's gone, love the show. I don't really have a suggestion, but here's a drawing that you did of Zuckerberg as a GIF animated, and he's made this like robot animation GIF. You can see it on my blog.
Amazing.
And I'm like, yeah, we have the best listeners in the world. Talent.
How clever.
Up the wazoo. Yeah, very clever. So that was very nice. So thank you for that, Chad.
Good on you.
So we have our first suggestion, and it is from TJ Mahaffey on Instagram. Thank you. Saying, love the podcast. You guys joked about the specificity of 72 virgins and other numbers in religion. Yes, we did. Thanks for reminding us.
Can I also point out, I'm so glad you've lumped Jason into that as well. Because
So if
really,
there is a fatwa, just
Yeah.
lump me in with it. I said nothing of the sort, TJ. Don't lump me in with this drollery. Anyway, I found it particularly funny because as a kid, I was brought up as a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh.
They too love their specific numbers. Example, only 144,000 people will go to heaven in the end. One of the many reasons I abandoned religion long ago, LOL.
For the odds. He was an odds man. He
He's
had
an odds
nothing
man.
to do with the believer. Yeah, that's great.
So
TJ.
if it were more well known, there might be something in a lineup of people with the 144,001st person being turned away at the gates going, shit.
That's great.
Anyway, keep it up. Thank you for that,
That's
TJ.
great.
That's very funny. The image,
is.
if it were more well known that it's 144,000 people
I've
specifically
never
that get
heard.
into.
Did you know that before, TJ?
This is a fact I've just learned. This is something I've just learned this minute. I can't believe I just called it a fact.
So does that
I didn't
mean?
know.
Does that mean there's 140,000 in it? All 144,000? Whatever the number is.
Now, he has said it. He has said will go to heaven in the end. Now, presumably, that means there's more to go still. Although after the summit tomorrow, who knows? There is 144,000 people. So they've only got room. So max capacity, according to the fire warden in heaven, is 144,000. Unless they renovate.
What I'm saying is right now there's 144,000. And then if like the Jehovah's Pope dies, you'd say he's a walk-up start. Does that mean they have to go to someone and go, hey, I'm so sorry to do this.
Would you mind giving up your seat?
Do you mind leaving heaven forever?
Yeah, for eternity. Just for eternity. And the Popey, or whatever the John, what's his name is for the...
Johnny Smith.
Johnny Smith or whatever.
Convicted fraudster. No, that was the Mormons.
Is this... Yeah, sorry. It gets so confusing. And he's there. Yeah, so he's up there and he's like, do you mind just giving up your seat for the old guy? It's like a subway. A subway car. Also, if there's 144,000 already up there, you're done then, aren't you? That's it. End of religion.
That's what I mean. Close the religion off.
Close it off, mate. Start a new one. We're at capacity. I'm on the list, though.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate.
Nah, sorry, mate.
We did touch on that earlier, I think.
Yeah.
So thank you, TJ. What an existential
TJ.
quandary.
Yeah.
Now we've got one from Harry in Sydney. G'day, Harry. Harry says, loving the podcast. Great to hear Dool's voice since Triple J days. And you blokes have made me a political comic kid now.
My nickname is Dools. We
Oh,
never
yeah.
really
Have I never
refer
called
to
you that?
me as... occasionally. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, everyone, this is Dools. Yeah. Dools in Chatto. Or as
Can you beat the bomb?
All the hits. Nova.
Hello.
Now, between Nickelback albums, we're doing New Yorker cartoons. So, g'day, Jason and Dools. Hopefully I haven't missed the SS on this. However, is there something in this? In the Oval Office, man running through Trump itinerary, and Trump sits behind the desk. Man says, after Mrs. Kardashian on prison reform, you have Dennis Rodman to discuss North Korea, Jim Jones to discuss the sugar tax in soda, and Mr. Belford on fair trading. The trade comparison may need some work, but you're the masters. I'm sure you'll pull something from it. Thanks, Hayes.
Do you know the thing with Harry's suggestion there is he hasn't gone crazy enough with his examples.
You've literally just listed his actual itinerary.
That's exactly right.
The insanity of it is that it's too real. So I think I like the Dennis Rodman on Korea after Kardashian on prison reform. That's actually quite good.
Well, he's on his way. He's there now. Like
Roddo.
Yeah.
Duels Roddo in the chat, man.
Yeah.
I think that's seriously insane. That Rodman is a North Korean emissary.
You know I've met Dennis Rodman.
Have you? Really?
Do you know where I met him?
Kidding. Men's toilets?
No, you
Where?
doing live shows with Charlie Sheen.
Now you've dropped too many names in a row here.
Now he
we need to backtrack here for a second.
Is on the way to be a part of a nuclear summit.
Yeah, he's really come a long way, hasn't he?
Bro.
This is amazing. Can I imagine just drawing Trump in all the tattoos with nose rings and the purple hair or whatever, the green hair, just to really make Kim comfortable.
The whole time I keep thinking of that great Chappelle joke about 9/11 and talking to Ja Rule on MTV. Yeah. And the tag which gets shown around, which you see all the time, is that gives a fuck what Ja Rule thinks at a time like this.
Oh my God, it's so good. Rodman, yeah. So anyway, thank you, Harry. Love that idea. It's too like real, I'm afraid. You've literally just Googled his actual itinerary. Now, we've got one from Pat. Thank you, Pat. He says, love the show. Hope this isn't too SS. And boy, do I love that that's caught on. That's really become part of the vernacular.
Listen to this.
Go on.
Ashika SS'd me today.
Uh-oh.
I gave her
What
an
did she
idea.
do?
I just made a joke, and she goes, "It's a bit SS, mate."
I love that. That's funny. Because she knows that cuts deep. That's how she knows to get to you.
Yeah, but I felt
That's
I was
funny.
Who was the guy that emailed and called it a steamship? Like
I thought it was a bit steamship. He called it a bit steamship because he thought calling it a bit SS was a bit SS.
Yeah.
That said, I was worried that cartoons that are a bit SS wouldn't run in the New Yorker. However, this week they ran a cartoon which was literally a steamship with words written on the side.
It was a clearly marked steamship. It was a clearly labelled steamship.
All bets are off. Either that or Emma is trolling me. And because she knows the term, by the way. I went in this week with the 99-cent pizza and 98-cent pizza next door to each other. And she goes, it's a bit SS. But, it's a term now.
That. Yeah. She SS'd that. Dude, we named an episode after that joke.
We did. We called it 98-cent pizza. Yeah, but I like that she's using it as much as we are. That's
Here
great.
We are. Yeah.
Here we are. We're out here. So, is there something in this? It's a clock shop, a shop that sells clocks. An employee is putting a clock in a bin marked defective. Two clocks are watching this happen. The caption reads...
I love it.
The clocks have faces, obviously. Caption reads, he was ahead of our time. It's too good. Oh my God. Pat, that's beautiful.
God.
You know what we like. That's so good.
Great.
A
That
talking
reminds
clock.
That reminds me of a joke that I never knew what to do with, but the idea of throwing a bin away is real circle of life.
Throwing a bin away?
Yeah, is really circle of life. Like when you have to throw a trash can away.
Oh, yes. Yeah, where do you throw a trash can out?
Yeah.
I suppose into a bigger trash can.
That's great.
And then Elton John plays. That's so
right.
funny.
That's really
a clock.
funny.
And I like the idea of a couple of clocks with a couple of clock faces, just looking forlorn. He was ahead of our time. There's so much to it.
It's very...
Pat, you've missed your calling, my friend. Unless, of course, you are a cartoonist and you're just trolling us going, look, I'm showing you up.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good.
If you're just running ideas by us, you just text.
Yeah.
Well, that was... have we got a batch? I think we've got a bit of a batch.
I think we've got a pretty solid batch, yes. Now, We do have one other suggestion, but I'm going to leave it till next week because it's a repeat suggester. And I don't want to get into the habit of reading repeat suggestors every single week because it'll become a torrent.
Well, I think we're done. I think I'm a bit drunk now.
That's fantastic. That is the best possible outcome from this. You're in France, you're in Paris, you're drinking presumably red wine or Vin Rouge.
Vin Rouge.
And you've gotten absolutely shit-faced.
I have a bit.
Which means by now it's the end of the show. We've got a very solid batch, and I'll go in tomorrow morning. I shall report back with my findings next week. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sending in your suggestions as always. Scott, when are you coming back to the land of Trump?
I'm back on Sunday.
Beautiful. All right.
Yeah, so we'll be together.
Yeah, we'll do a pod reunited. You'll be no doubt a little jet lagged. But we'll still drink a nice bottle of Plonk
we'll have a bottle of
to
Plonk.
get you to adapt to your surroundings.
The other day we kind of said, "Oh, would you be interested in doing a live show?" And I'm happy to report that literally no one responded. So,
although you don't check your Instagram, so there may be a
I've got
torrent
no
of responses
idea.
that you have no idea.
It may be.
It may be the most popular thing we've ever done. So if you guys would be interested in seeing a live show, when you're sending in your suggestions, just pop a little, just tell us, just go, nah, I don't want to see either of your ugly faces on stage. Or, that could be good if there's beer. I mean, don't be mean about it, but,
Let us down softly.
All right. Well, that's the show this week. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next week. Au revoir.
We.
You're going to do a lot of we after drinking